I will count from 1 to 3. On 3, you will detect all the vibrational frequencies that you feel connected to the spirit guides. 1, 2, 3.
Yes. An image appeared to me, which was like a snake appearing from within the ground and hissing onto a crowd of subliminal parts. It was an image from the metaphysical level. And the snake appears to be like the one that has little bells on its tail, and it's producing a certain sound. And that sound, I see it producing a frequency that puts the masses under some type of pressure, the subliminal parts. It's like it's keeping them on the frequency that it wants.
Mhm. Anything else?
For now, no.
Okay. Now read the DNA of all those who manifest themselves on the metaphysical level as spirit guides and reconstruct their original form.
A lot of them are humanoids. That's what appeared to me. Some are hybrids um, with a part of some technological features. Um, most of them humanoids. I perceive some reptilians, but it feels like the first ones are more dominant. Um, perceiving how do I say, a major construction of them, so it's more species who would like to disguise as these guides, but they're not in like significant. They're not significantly more than humanoids.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Okay, very well. What are the characteristics of a subliminal part that comes into contact with spirit guides?
The willingness to, no, not the willingness, the need to connect with something literally. Um, it's like searching for something that um, you perceive as more not dominant, but higher up, somehow an image than you, for guidance, for advice, for refugee, for emotional refugee. A lot of things that come from a place of lacking than from a place of fulfillment. Also, mm, hmm, not really being in sync with your inner truth. So that's what produces that lack. It's like you never find the right thing. You are all constantly searching for something. And when there is a lack in your vibrations or something is lacking within you, um, you're not there to see how to fill that space by yourself. So you search for someone to fill that for you.
Yes, very well. Now observe the characteristics of the energetic bodies mental, emotional, and sexual in relation to those who come into contact with spirit guides? What do you perceive?
The emotional body instantly highlighted. I also feel it. Um, it's like something that is holding it. It's very dense. It's not showing itself in its whole fluidity. It's very fixed somehow, not very, expensive as in its nature. Um, Trying to look at the other bodies. The mental is not that affected, though I am perceiving it not as vibrant as it can be, as its highest potential, somehow stagnant, but by personal choice or by um, some subliminal conditions that were created throughout their lives or past lives.
Mhm.
And the sexual body, it depends. Um, for some, it is affected. It depends on what their subliminal conditions are. Because, traumas and things like that, traumatic events, contribute to the state of the sexual body. So it's kind of like a cocktail. Once the others are kind of out of this harmony, it directly influences also the sexual body.
Mhm. Very well. Are there any technologies or etheric devices that you feel connected to spirit guides?
Yes, as I perceived in the beginning, there's some technological aspect to some of them in their DNA. Um, some type of hybrids. Um, it's like I'm perceiving them half and half. Um, the technological part is programmed, and I'm perceiving this technological part being created by themselves, so the species that is using it. They incorporated it throughout time for a beneficial operation for themselves. So it kind of made them evolve in some type of way.
Mhm.
It's like making some of their actions uh, be automatic, so there's no need to be involved as much. So they can, um, I say, influence more subliminal parts at once.
Do you perceive anything else?
No.
Very well. Are karma and spirit guides related?
They can be. Not always, but they can show up in the pre-incarnation space
Mhm.
to kind of propagate that karma or that baggage um, of traumas or feelings or of interferences. Yes, in that way. they can be connected.
Okay, very well. Are genealogy and spirit guides related?
No, at least that's what's appearing now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else? I'm gonna
No, I think
investigate.
it needs more details.
Okay. Among the various types of spirit guides you have perceived, are there any connections between them and humans that you perceive as beneficial or positive?
In the perception of humans, there can be beneficial parts, but it's not for free.
Mm-hmm.
It's never for free. There is always some type of exchange, and the benefic parts are not constant, and they don't um, they kind of don't last. It's always like charging your battery, and it lasts for a while, and then it goes down. So you constantly have to give something, or just your energetical bodies. They're constantly producing some type of energy, and if it's constantly drains, it becomes deranging.
Mm-hmm. Perceive anything else?
No.
Okay, we finished the fixed part. Um, you said on the genealogy and the spirit guides, there is no connection. Why? I mean,
Mm,
related. Mhm.
mm. And now that I'm looking closer, it
Yes.
can um, mm, it can be related in the sense of the interferences that are somehow passed down, but more in a form of um, emotions and experiences that vibrate at the same frequency and that attract the same type of interference. So it goes down, um, generations.
So the frequency stays on each lifetime.
If it affects a person in one lifetime and they don't um, um, metabolize it, or discover what's its source, or try to solve it in a way, it can be um, it can be the energy that they start their new life in the pre-incarnation space. So a thing that they keep with them, if it's not um, if they didn't come to a realization of why it exists, or try to solve it.
Mhm. So they come with this energy from the pre-reincarnation kind of period.
Yes, throughout lives, if it's the case. So
So,
that way the spiritual guides, in quotes,
mhm.
um, can show up as exactly that, as guides, and manipulate those feelings that the person has into a different thing than it really is, like a higher purpose or anything like that. So that's why they can stay together more lives.
So the so-called spirit guides are with them in the pre-reincarnation time.
Can you repeat the question?
Those you said comes through lifetimes. So those spirit guides that are connected to them from different past lives,
Hmm.
they are present. Are they present on the pre-reincarnation stage, the process of the pre-reincarnation? Are they present there?
Yes.
Are there other ones beside those spirit guides?
It depends on the person and the experiences that they had, or the energetical baggage, not energetical, emotional baggage that they had. Um, how their life went, with what beliefs they died, and what realizations they had. So in certain cases there can be other ones. In certain cases it's just the spirit guides or these entities that you know show up as these spirit guides.
So they come with the whole package. Depends on the package they have.
Yes.
Okay. You said in the frequency in the beginning how when spirit guides kind of they came into the collective consciousness.
um in a moment where the kind of the environment that people had didn't seem like enough. I see cases of people who um, were kind of trying to put questions and find out more than what um, society has told them, or anything like that. And that kind of put out an interest, kind of like a light that the entities perceived as a new interest that they can take advantage of and manipulate in their own ways.
What do you perceive like when they do they were they before different ways they show themselves on different beliefs of the people, and lately when the spirit guide concept came into the collective, do they show up as spirit guides? Do they change their name?
Oh yes, they're changing constantly. It's like
Are they
mm,
adapting?
yes, it's like a Rubik's cube. You can put it in
Mm-hmm.
different positions. They show up as what you want to see, as
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
the figure that can um, how do I say, make you trust them or have some influence upon you.
You saw in the beginning the snake. Let's go to
Mhm.
that picture and see what like tell me what happens with the snake. Is the snake there is like the mythology of the snake and the consciousness, the collective consciousness and the stories. Is it like kind of part of this spirit guide concept?
It's showing up as a metaphor, this snake, for
Mm-hmm.
I see it much larger than kind of upon the whole group of subliminal parts. And I see it as a metaphor in a sense that the influence that it has, or how people perceive this, this figure, this entity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I look from their perspective, from the people's perspective, you see it just as light, as something that is not detectable necessarily as a figure, as something physical. But if you look from the part of the snake, you can clearly see this snake. So it's like thinking that you're looking at something great, something light, something pure, but in reality, in the back, there's something that is, in a way, controlling you or, influencing you. So it had those bells that I talked about on its tail,
Mhm.
and it's kind of shaking the tail and producing a frequency.
Mhm. So you're saying that certain sound, it's kind of connecting to the subliminal part. Is it like getting into a hypnotic state, or
It's creating this frequency that the bells are making. It's creating kind of a transparent veil, an energetical veil that is upon this above these people, that is kind of keeping them in that belief that they have, and the beliefs can be different. It's um, very different people, um, but they kind of all fall under the same category. It just
what category?
of uh, of being influenced by that,
The sound?
the entities, the
Is
things that are
this
controlling them.
is the sound produced by the technology you are mentioning? What technologies are you they are using?
Mhm. Um, it has something to do with polarities, so like plus and minus. It's like this uh, snake is producing a vibration that is in the minus part. It's kind of overpowering the plus that comes from the subliminal parts. In that way, they're kind of stagnant there, and they're kept in that zone under that influence. If that makes sense.
Mhm. The minus part, right? What about the
Hmm.
plus?
The plus is coming from the subliminal parts. So it's like they're trying to produce a more overpowering minus to overpower that plus that comes from the subliminal parts.
Okay. So the minus has to be stronger than the plus, kind of, to overcome the
Yes.
plus and the subliminal
I mean,
parts.
I mean they're trying. The veil is not that opaque. I see
Mm-hmm.
it very transparent, so
Okay.
it's not solid, but they're trying.
And why it's transparent? They try. It sounds like they are not doing too well.
Because that technology is not something that is natural, something that is pure. It's a technology that was made in an artificial way. It would never be able to overpower something that is kind of like a generator itself naturally, like the subliminal parts are.
But how that technology works, how they charge it, how they create it.
I perceive it as a cycle. So it charges from the beliefs. They take those that desperation that some people have to find something to um,
To look towards to.
yes, to help them to, that desperation. It's kind of they're recalling that energy, they're charging that technology, and then they somehow convert it and influence the subliminal parts. But I saw it as a cycle because um, if there are less people who give out that energy, that technology is not that strong anymore, and they don't have something to recharge it with. It's like like the recycling sign. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that depends on something else. It's kind of a whole system. And if it's something is not right, then the system is not that efficient anymore.
So, are they keep on recycling?
Yes, you can call it that.
Are they updating too?
Not that often, but they're trying to keep up with the energy of the whole common consciousness.
And how are they doing so far?
Struggling came to me
Why?
because it's a very fast pace, and um, you know, to find ways to constantly overpower something that is natural and is so powerful from within is kind of challenging
Mm-hmm.
as more people start to realize their inner world and their inner power.
Are they becoming aware of their power?
People, yes, more of them.
How many percentage do you perceive as today?
37.
37? That's good. Very well. Let's move 10 years forward. How many percentage do you perceive?
Hmm. I perceive it really a duality.
Mhm.
So there is not one that is that applies to everybody. I see like a division, a group of people who are around the number of 64, 74, somewhere there. But
Mhm.
there is another part that is like 10, 15.
Mhm. So there are two kind of two groups.
Yes.
Mhm. So in this first group, how are the spirit guides doing?
Poorly.
Why?
Um, see that for that group, the technology that I saw before is um, not really valid
Working
anymore.
anymore? It's outdated?
Yes. Um, um, showed to me that they're kind of changed beliefs already.
Okay, to what?
So they're kind of not anymore spirit guides, if that makes sense.
Okay, what are they now? I mean, in 10 years, I mean, we're talking.
hmm Mm, I perceived a connection with astrology in a way, but a more upgraded one than now.
Okay.
Um, yes, it's some type of form having to do with stars and
Okay.
everything.
So they changed from spirit guides to astrology.
Yes, kind of they changed their focus to recall to extracting energy from a different source.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of when the spirit guides became outdated, they weren't getting enough. So
Okay.
they, they
They
again changed their.
converted or
Yes,
mm-hmm. To what they convert?
it's like a general image of, it's not astrology as we know it today. Not to not get it wrong. It's something, a different aspect of it. It's not like zodiac signs.
Mm-hmm.
Something different. to
Okay.
do with stars. It's like a new discovery or something that was also induced by governments or something like that.
Okay. Makes sense. The discovery.
Yeah, so
Um.
I can't really tell what it is because I
Mhm.
don't know it
Ooh,
currently. So
I will count to three, and let's see what word you'll perceive of this. The how you, this new discovery will be called. One, two, three.
Genesis came to me, the word.
Beautiful. Genesis. So this new astrology. Uh, how can I say? So is it this helping humans? The so-called Genesis.
Not really, because it's not um, factually true. It's
Okay.
something that, again, it's some type of theory that was
Hmm.
made up. I see it's having some type of reality in it, but it's again, it's mm, camouflaged almost.
Camouflaged. Okay.
Hmm.
How much? How they have to say something like some reality into it. How much percentage you perceive of reality?
10,
10%.
not much.
So what do you perceive like? What kind of reality they portraying this 10%?
It's like something new space discoveries, something like that. Or new planets, stars, something to do with, how astrology now influences the common consciousness. It's like something new like that.
Hmm. I won't go too much into because this can be another subject. The astrology. Um, so you said the second part, the 10%, 10, 15%
Hmm.
that are more connected to the spirit guides.
Hmm.
Why they remained so connected to them?
Um, it's like the a part of the world of different communities that are more affected um, or more disadvantaged in the physical reality. So either conditions of life or
Mhm,
um, yeah, just conditions of life and how they live and
mhm.
different priorities or not being able to focus on something else than survival or
Like
something like
being
that.
poor. Mhm.
Yes, being poor or abused or mm, yeah, that's most of it.
Mhm. Very well. You said, let's go to a person. Usually, um, you said somebody connecting with a spirit guide is comes from a place of lacking.
Hmm.
Um, what 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 triggers that?
That lacking.
Yeah, the lacking in that person. What is triggered by?
Mm. Not having a sense of direction that was produced by their environment, by society. I perceive a person that is like in the center of almost a vortex,
Mm-hmm.
and that vortex represents all the things that are happening around them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a life that they experienced um, so many things at once, They can be bad or quite great, but it's like a mixture that um, leaves them very confused.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all the requirements from this reality and all the pressure, it's kind of defocusing them and really leaves them, wondering and
Lost.
yeah, just looking for something to help them or give them a sense of direction. Basically, they are lacking that energy of security within them.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't, yet realize that it comes from within them, or they're not practicing things that can produce that energy of secureness, of trust in yourself.
How they can, how could they can prevent that? You said they are confused, right? One of the
Hmm.
characteristics is used confusion. What other characteristics are involved, factors in getting to ask for help? I can say metaphorically from the outside.
I can see it being uh, coming actually from a place of not a bad place. So is that a place of lacking, but there's also a space that is kind of the person feels great, they feel happy, and there is a wanting to connect with everything, and mm, they kind of perceive everything as being sacred or powerful or more powerful than them.
Hmm.
That feeling. So it also can come from a place like this.
Hmm. So are they looking for somebody who's like kind of
To share
at a
their
higher?
gratefulness and um, not really do anything with that, just connect with things to feel kind of more fulfilled, but they never really reach that place because they're connecting with something that is outside them.
Yes. And what happened to that person in, let's say, 5 years?
I'm perceiving the emotional body being exhausted, mm, kind of moving in a slower pace than usually. Um, it's like a state of burnout on emotional one.
Hmm. What about the rest, the other bodies?
The mental body is overstimulated. It's like chaotic. Nothing is in its place. It's moving really fast. Thoughts and things are hitting against each other.
Hmm.
There is oversaturation,
Hmm.
and the sexual body. Mm, don't really see it as affected.
Hmm. It's more the emotional and the mental, which.
Hmm.
Mhm. So how this person can fix this?
To look within, really, to mm, create practices for themselves to get to know themselves and what makes them feel better, not things from the outside, just thoughts of their own that make them feel better. Um, Practices like breathing or anything really. Small acts of hmm, small acts of appreciating yourself and trusting yourself. So it's really going inward, not outward,
Mm-hmm.
and not having this fear of detaching from things or leaving things behind or learning new things and leaving behind um, old thoughts or old
Mm-hmm.
beliefs.
How the person can detach completely from these spiritual guides?
Just to want to a certain when they get to a certain point of um, knowledge or of realization, um, the simple power of wanting to do something is already enough. It is proof that it's already done when you want to do it
Mm-hmm.
because it's your creation.
Mm-hmm. Very well, Anastasia. You mentioned that the DNA mostly are the humanoids.
Mhm.
Um, when this, what do those humanoids, do you perceive where they come from?
Where they come from?
Mm-hmm. Any places they come? Are they from? Do they live somewhere?
Mm, I'm not perceiving a specific space. It's just like they're all around. Um, mm, some spaceships came to me, but this all of this is on the metaphysical level.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see
Yes.
like a place of origin.
Mm-hmm. It's not like they come from a planet, some planets.
Mm, yeah, I don't perceive that.
Mhm. How they brought that idea of a spirit guide? Is it a spirit guide kind of included in religion? The concept of a spirit guide.
Um, it was created from the concept of rebellion against religion.
Mm.
So something different for the people who don't want to believe
A
in
religion.
religion. Hmm.
Is it spiritual? Spirituality, kind of?
Some parts of it, yes, that are more mainstream, if I can say that.
Mhm. So religion, mm, if you don't believe in religion, then the other part of a coin will be like being spiritual.
Yes, it depends. There are people who don't believe in anything or they just believe
Okay.
in themselves.
Mhm.
They have their own truth.
Okay.
But this is just a different category than religion. It's not necessarily if you're not that you're, um, you know, um, need to be the other one.
Yes, yes.
No.
So you said that there are some that they don't believe in anything. Are they connected to connecting to spiritual guide? Metaphorically speaking.
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
Why?
Because when you don't believe, you don't give out energy. It's also like mm, depends on the type of person. You can be a person who doesn't believe, but in anything, but at the same time kind of has an interest in in everything. You know, you can believe
Mm-hmm.
in one thing from there, one thing from there. So that is a different case than a person who is not really influenced by whatever is thought in
Mm-hmm.
society or anything. They just are existing in their own truth.
So if you believe one thing from here and there, are those beliefs they can get you connected connected to something else?
On a certain level, it's believing, but it's more mm, the connection that happens based on frequency and aligning with the certain frequency, so on which the entities operate, you know.
Mm-hmm. So it's all about frequencies.
Yes, you can kind of have a thought, a little thought of this might be true, but you're not sure. But it's
Mm-hmm.
different from a person who, yes, might also have like, yeah, it might be true, but I'm not so sure. But they also have an emotional baggage and something that, resonates with the frequency that the entity operates on.
So the so-called non-believers, is there a way that can get connected, be connected, the spirit guides somehow? There's some ways, can be some ways.
Yes, through that emotional connection, not emotional, energetical,
How?
just by synchronizing to the frequency.
So what's their frequency? What do you perceive?
Depends on the entity. As I said, it can be lacking or
Mm-hmm.
fear or
Mm-hmm.
anything.
So only like low vibration frequency, kind of.
Yes. Um, or low vibrational frequency, or how do I describe it? Um, an empty space in your own energy. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a bar that is not filled to the top. It's kind of
Okay.
you're leaving a space for someone else to fill.
Oh, okay. So you're making a space for something. Very well, Anastasia. Uh, I have one more question. How can I say what the worst can happen to a person kind of connected to a spirit guide?
I mean, it depends on the definition that we have as the worst. Um,
Yeah, it's a little bit pretty. It's a wide question. It's kind of complex. Okay, let's observe a person who's connected and still going on, asking for help, and um, let's see kind of what the worst thing can happen in that person's life.
the thing that can happen is just stay under the influence of that entity, not being in full control of your own self, in full synchronicity with your subliminal part. That will eventually affect your physical life. I don't know, not feeling motivated or anything really, any physical symptoms. It depends on how the subliminal part is affected, and also reincarnation or reincarnating not by personal want,
Choice. Hmm.
yes, choice.
Hmm. So you're saying that the reincarnation can be the worst part because you go to a different life when you choose whatever they want you to choose.
Exactly. So you're not willingly choosing an
Yes.
experience.
Hmm. And you said on the physical part, what kind of illness or problems they might have?
Anything really. It just depends on
What's the
the other aspects of the what traumas they are keeping with them or what mm, anything.
Mhm. Which one is the most common one in our times?
Anxiety came to me.
Anxiety. Is it because they are connected and they are like it's kind of energy, giving energy kind of continuously?
Yes, or the entities provoking a restless feeling in the emotional body.
Mhm. So the anxiety produces more energy for them,
The suffering from
the
anxiety.
suffering,
Yes.
mhm, the suffering altogether. Is it like strong energy for them?
Yes, for anybody really that feeds off the negative energy.
Yeah, you said they're kind of on a war, all of them here. Like, looks like they are on a war for everything, for the
Mm,
energy.
yeah, it for them is just like a feeding source.
Hmm. And without it, what will happen to them?
Well, they can't really exist.
Will they die or disappear?
Mm, more like shrinking.
Mhm. Will they shrink but still kind of can say be alive?
Yes, I don't really see a total disappearance.
Hmm. Will they find different ways to come back to life?
I mean, they can
Yeah, it's.
if they find a different source.
Mhm. They find a different source and different ways.
Yeah, anything really that just vibrates at the thing
Wh-
that they need.
What is the frequency that will kind of can say destroy them in the metaphysical level?
Mm, mm, nothing really.
Nothing.
They just can, shrink in powers and in capabilities. I don't see them dying or
Hmm.
anything like that.
Hmm. What about the frequency of love? What happens?
If they get it,
Uh, yeah, what happens if they get the frequency of love? It's like you say the frequencies they are using is this the lacking ones, the low vibration ones.
hmm
Which is the highest frequency?
if they receive a higher frequency. I perceive that there will eventually be a change in the DNA, some kind of evolution. So they will change, literally.
Uh, will they change for better? I mean, how will they
Just
change?
a different type of existence.
Will they adapt to the highest frequency, to the higher frequency?
Mm, treated like as a harder process. Um, no, it's really complex. It's
Mhm. Yes,
really
it is.
depends.
It is. I'm just curious what happens when they receive the, okay, say the highest, which is the highest frequency. The frequency of love, is it a higher frequency than that?
Mm, I see something above it.
What do you perceive?
Mm, something that has to do with awareness, awareness of self, knowledge of yourself,
Mhm.
authenticity.
Authenticity. Is there a connection in that awareness to something or somebody?
Can you repeat the question?
So above the frequency of love, it's awareness. Yeah, awareness of self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that subliminal part, while she's self-aware, does does it connect to something in the metaphysical, I can say, yeah?
Does that energy connect to something?
Hmm. Does it connect, or does it come from inside, or does it come from outside?
Oh, so if it comes from inside the subliminal part?
Hmm. That awareness, where does it come from?
Yes, it comes from within.
Within.
It's a personal creation.
Hmm. Do you perceive any connection? I'm still.
No. If I'm understanding the
Is it,
question right.
let's say, the person, the subliminal part, the subliminal part and the physical part are kind of connected together, right? Are they in sync?
Mm-hmm.
Is this creates awareness?
Mm, this awareness already exists within the subliminal part. It's like it can be, um, in a kind of undiscovered form. It can be unacknowledged,
Hmm.
or it can flourish in its true powers, in its true beauty. Once everything is in sync, the physical body and the subliminal part, because they're one.
Hmm.
It exists within both.
Hmm. Is it connected to being present?
It's more complex than that. It has more to do with that authenticity.